Welcome back, folks. This is part 4 of how to build a $10,000 bankroll at 1-3. If you're new to the channel, I record every single hand I play. I open 10-9 offsuit, I get 3-bet, and I fold. It makes it into the video. You see every hand I play for this entire journey of how to build a $10,000 bankroll. With that said, let's grab our 500 chips, head on down to the casino, and get underway. Here we are, folks, back at Villa playing some 1-3, $500. Excuse the raspy voice today, I'm feeling a little bit sick. But anyways, we open up the King 9 offsuit in the hijack, play bottom of my open range, bump it up to $10, and only the cutoff continues. Heads up to a flop, and it comes down ace, ace, 3, 2 hearts, and a club. Standard's probably just a check here, but I think that we can just get him to fold so much and, deny his 20, 40% equity, whatever it is. So I'm going to go with a small bet here. I put in a wager of 10, and my opponent goes into the tank for a little bit, and then folds. So nice. We're picking up the first pot here to kick off our session. On to the next hand. Probably fold this hand if there are limps in front of us, but from the hijack, I'm opening all my offsuit broadways and King 9 off as the bottom of my range. So this one makes it just in there. We bump it on up to $10. We had a call from the cutoff the button as well as the big blind. 4 ways to this flop, and it comes down 3-3 deuce rainbow. Could potentially bluff at it, but 4 ways. I'm just going to give this one up, and action checks through. Off the turn, it comes down to 6 of spades. I'm going to continue just check folding, and the cutoff does put in a bet, just $15. Thought about check raising for a second, but I think we're just going to let this one go. High fold. Picking up the ace 6 of hearts here, bumping on up to $10 in the low jack. Player to my left, he is in every single hand with us. He makes the call as well as the big blind. We are going 3 ways to this flop, and it comes down queen 8-3 rainbow. Not even a heart in sight, so I just check it over, and hijack checks behind. Off to turn, it is the 9 of spades. I still have absolutely nothing going on here, so I check. Hijack puts in a really big bet this time, 25. Last time when he took a turn stab is for 15. This time's a lot bigger, but don't know what it is just yet, but I'll keep a note on that. But we fold, obviously. 2 limps, and we check our option with the 6 deuce off in the big blind. Go 3 ways to a flop of King Jack 8. We have absolutely nothing, so when the original limper overbets for 2x pot, we are out of there. Action folds around to us on the button. We open up the Queen 9 offsuit up to $10. Both the blinds do continue. 3 ways to a flop of 8, 7, 6, 2 hearts, and a spade. Action checks to me, and this is probably the worst 9 that you could possibly have. We're outkicked by King 9 and Ace 9. 10-9's a straight. Jack 9 has a higher straight draw available. 9-8, 9-7, 9-6 are all pair plus straight draw. So Queen 9 seems to be the absolute worst open-ender I could have here, and without a heart, we are definitely going to be checking this one back. Anyways, we head to the turn, and it's a good one. It's a queen of hearts. We make top pair to go along with our open-ender. So when it checks to me, I'm going to start building this pot. And I put in a bet of $15. Small blind makes the call. Sorry, big blind makes the call, and we go heads up to the river. And we hit our straight with the 10 of hearts. But before I can even realize what just happened with my straight, our opponent is leading into us for about $50 full pot. Yeah, I'm not going to call this unless I had at least maybe Jack of Hearts. I think Jack of Hearts I would call here, but with just a straight, we are out of there. We're folding. We open up the Ace 9 offsuit in the hijack up to $10. Cutoff does make the call once again, and so does the big blind. We are in the pot with this guy every single hand. But we're going 3 ways to the flop, which comes down Ace 4 deuce rainbow. Action checks to me, and out of all the ace high flops, this is probably the worst one with 2 cards under the 5, 2 wheel cards. So considering that we are also out of position and our kicker's not great, I'm going to kick things off with a check. Cutoff now puts in a bet of $20. Big blind folds. This is in between his normal sizes. We saw quarter pot, and then we saw like 80%. This is like 60%, so don't really know how to read into this just yet. This session's still early, but just going to go for the call here. We head to the turn, and it's a beautiful one. It's a 9 of spades. We make top 2. I check it over once again, and he thinks for a bit before putting in another bet, but this time it's only for $30. I think about it for a bit, and given that he sized down after going quite big on the flop, I think that he's betting this so he can check back the river. So the only way to get more money in at this point is to go for the check raise. I don't really want to do it, but I just don't think that he's going to be betting river often enough for us to just trap here. So I go for the re-raise, and I make it very small. I make it a very milky $70. Back over to him, we send him deep into the tank now. I mean, I can have some bluffs here, like 5, 6 of spades, but yeah, they're all going to be quite strong. So
After quite a bit of thought, my opponent decides just to fold, so pretty unfortunate there. We couldn't get an extra at least $40. But that's all right, picking up a nice big pot here. We look down at a very nice hand, pocket sixes, bumping on up to $10. We got 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to this flop. We want to see a 6, and it comes down King Jack 8 once again. I think we had 6 deuce off last time we had this flop. Anyways, just going to check it here. We're 2 multi-way. Cutoff puts in a sizable bet of 25, and we are out of there. This guy's picking up all of our pots. Action folds around to us in the cutoff. This is a bit of a tighter table, so you're seeing a lot of like close to bottom of range opens. A lot of hands that just get folded if it's there's a few limps already, but yeah, quite a few unopened pots, so we are going to go after it. We bump up the Jack 10 offsuit in the cutoff up to $10, and only the big blind continues. Heads up to a flop of Ace 8-3 Rainbow. He checks to me, and I think small bet is in order here. Don't really want to go 5. It feels too small. So I just decided on 10. I don't want to bet 7. It's so annoying. So I put in a bet of $10, and after a little bit of thought, my opponent check raises to 35. Yeah, we're getting run over this session. Yeah, we fold. Here we go. A beautiful looking hand. Pocket 9s on the button. Once again, folded around. I bumped it up to $10, and both my opponents fold. Yeah. Once again, action folds around to me on the button, and I bump up the price of poker up to $10 with the 10-7 of clubs. Small blind gets out the way, and big blind continues. So we're going heads up to this flop, which is, I've seat changed. So this is the same guy that's almost in every single pot with us. Let's see if we can win one from him besides making top 2. So we go to a flop of 9-5 deuce, 2 spades, and a heart. He checks to me, and this board, you're mostly going to want to be betting pretty big here. My normal size is about 1.5x pot on these 9-high disconnected boards. So that's what I'm going to go with here. We do have some backdoors to choose from, and this hand makes a nice bluff candidate on diamond and club turns. So anyways, I go for the overbet, $30, and my opponent calls. And so turn, looking for an 8, a 10, a jack, a 6, something like that. Unfortunately, it comes down to the 3 of hearts, so we don't pick up any equity. When he checks to me, we have 2 flush draws to choose from for our bluffs here. We also have hands like King 4 of clubs, which has an open ender. We have 7-6, which at least has a gutter. So this hand is just a pure give up. So I just check it back. Off to the river, and it comes down the Ace of Hearts. My opponent now checks it over to us, and I do pick up a little bit of value here. So I would be 1.5xing my Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace Jacks here. So, and Ace 9 and Ace 5 as well. So we do have quite a few value hands that can now bet river. So I'm going to use some of my give up bluffs on the turn as well. So that is what I do. I go for the pot size bet of $80. My opponent goes into the tank for a little bit, doesn't think for too long, and then makes the call. That is not going to be good. He has a 9-3 offsuit for the turn 2 pair. No chance of us trying to get him off that. We were targeting like 10-9 or something there. Anyways, that one is not going to go our way. He is killing us this session. On to the next hand. I was just about to fold this, but as I was going to, the 2 people to my left had already done the thing where they kind of pre-fold their cards. So we're technically in the cutoff now, which means I'm pretty happy to open Queen 8 of hearts here. So open it up. The 2 players do indeed muck their hands, and button makes the call as well as big blind. So we're going 3 ways to this flop, which comes down 5-4-3 all hearts. That is a flop. Big blind checks, and I kick things off with a very small bet, just $10 into the middle. Button now goes for the re-raise up to 30. Very good news. Big blind folds, and I don't want to blow him off. He seems like he's betting at a very high frequency, so, and he also folded to a check raise on the turn for like $40 more. So I think more than likely this is going to be a bluff. So I'm going to call here, set the trap, and we head to the turn, which is the 7 of clubs. It does make some straights possible if he was bluffing with like 6-5 or something. So hopefully that's a good card, unless he had a set like 5s, 4s, or 3s, and that's a very bad card. Anyways, I check it over. It looks like he wants to bet, counts out some chips, and then unfortunately just checks it back. So that's not good. River is the deuce of spades. So now any ace is also a straight. And look over to stack. He's got like 350 behind. I don't think he's going to fold a straight. Like if he just had like ace 8, I just don't think he's folding it. I think he's going to call. You know, like if he has ace of hearts, eight of clubs or something, I think he finds a call. So I'm going to go for all of it. I'm going to be greedy here. And I go all in for about 3x pot. And he does think it over for a little bit. Giving us some thought. We are begging for a call at this point. There's no way he's tanking with a flush, so we definitely have the best hand. And after a couple more minutes, he decides just to let it go. Yeah, all right. But we are picking up a pretty nice pot there. Under the gun has limped, and we decide to isolate with the 7-5 of spades. Folds round, only the limper calls, so we're going heads up to this flop, which comes down queen, jack, 3, rainbow. Checks it to me. I start things off with a small bet, $10. My opponent once again goes into the tank, but this time just folds, so picking up a nice pot there with 7 high. Okay, in this next hand, middle position has limped, and then low jack has raised up to 10. Folds around to me in the small blind, and this is a lot smaller than he normally goes pre-flop, and there's a limp in there, so we're just going to attack this straight away, and I re-raise this up to $40. Big blind folds, middle position folds, and low jack, after a bit of thought, also folds. Nice little pot to pick up there. Okay, in this next hand, there are 4 limps, and we look down at jack 10 offsuit on the button. Don't really feel like raising it. I think over limping is probably marginally better than folding, so that is what I'm going to do. Small blind folds, big blind checks. We are going 6 ways to this flop, which comes down ace, queen, 4, 2 diamonds, and a heart. Got ourselves a gut shot, but when it checks to me, I decide just to check it back. Off to the turn, it is the 5 of spades. Big blind now puts in under the gun puts in a big bet of $20. Under the gun +2 now calls this big bet. Middle position folds, and now cutoff raises it up to $60. We obviously are never considering doing anything here but folding, but how did everyone just hit this 5 of spades turn? That makes no sense. I think it went to showdown. I think cutoff actually had aces. I think I remember him having aces, but anyways, we obviously fold. We have a limper, and we got another pocket pair, bump it on up to $15. Folds around, and we go heads up to the flop, which is quite good for my overall range. It's ace, king, queen, rainbow. He checks it over, and these are one of the hands that you use as triple barrel bluffs on boards like this. So we're going to kick things off here. Not saying I'm going to triple barrel, but going to kick things off with a $10 bet. And middle position just folds. We have a limp and then a raise to 15. I look down at pocket 10s and the low jack. We were getting hit with some pocket pairs today. We bump it on up to $50. Small blind now overcalls, the guy that's in every single pot with us. Then big blind overcalls, under the gun folds, and now it's back on the original raiser, who also decides to call. So we are somehow going 4 ways in this 3-bet pot to a flop of king 7-7 rainbow. And now, annoyingly enough, small blind now donks for just $50. How is this man hitting everything? He's just betting every single hand. Big blind gets out the way, under the gun gets out the way, and considering he's just betting so often, I think we have to float 1 here. I don't feel great about it, but I just don't think we can fold here. But how is he going to find a natural bluff here? You know how creative you have to be to find a bluff here to lead quarter pot to 3 people? Very creative. So anyways, we call. The turn comes down the 6 of spades, and now he checks it over to me. My original plan here was to bet like 100. It just felt intuitively right to do, but I couldn't think of a reason to do it. Like, we're never getting jacks to fold. We're never getting a king to fold. We're going to get check raised by a 7. We are going to fold out some of his bluffs, but like, what are his bluffs? Like ace 10? We don't really care too much if that takes a free river. Like, it's just tough to think of a hand that benefits from me betting with pocket 10 specifically. So I went against my initial thought and just decided to check this back. River comes down. An interesting one is the ace of clubs. So a lot of my hands are going to be like ace, queen, ace, jack here. But now he bets out for 150. This is strange. He didn't bet out on the ace when he had 2 pair with 9-3. But now he's betting out, and I'm very curious. I am very curious. This feels bluffy. The sizing feels bluffy. He looks uncomfortable. But at the same time, you'd have to be like insane to find a bluff here. Like 8-9 is going to jam the turn. I block jack 10. Like what can he even have as a bluff here? Like, seriously, he just has to have it. He might even be bluffing with like a king or something, or queens for some weird reason. So I think, as much as my suspicion is peaked right now. I think we're just going to have to let this one go. That one hurts. We're in the game for a few hundred more now, but still going. Okay, hijack has limped, button is raised up to 15. I look down jack, 9, and diamonds in the big blind, go for the call, and hijack calls as well. 3 ways to a flop of queen, 8, 8, 2 spades, and a heart. So we got ourselves a gutter. I check it over, hijack checks, and button checks behind. Off to the turn, we do improve on the 9 of spades. I check once again. I don't think there's too much value in betting here. Hijack now goes for about a half pot bet of 25. Button folds. We got a gutter. We have a pair. Yeah, I think I'm going to call this. We go off to the river and it comes down. The king of diamonds doesn't change much. I check it over. My opponent snap checks back, so seems like good news. I roll it over and he has the 10-8 offsuit for the flopped trips. Good thing a 10 didn't come on that river. That would have been brutal. Anyways, another pot. We are not winning, unfortunately. All right, we got ourselves a premium. Low jack has limped. Cutoff his raise up to $15. I put in the re-raise, but it's a little bit too quick. And I just went for the typical 4x sizing of 60. But looking at his stack and considering how much of his stack this is, I would prefer something around the range of $50 here. But anyways, big blind gets out the way. Low jack folds. And cutoff, taking maybe 2 seconds, shoves all in on us. Ugh. Not a fun spot. I think I'm leaning fold, but then I give it a little bit of thought, and he jammed really quick. Like, you're gonna think about it for a second. If you have aces, kings, you're gonna give it a thought. I'm gonna say, is this the best way? Should I trap? Should I raise small? But it was just snap shove. So it could be queens. I think jacks and ace king. He's just flatting pre. He seems to be somebody that would do that. And the more I think about it, the more this guy is just glaring at me. He's just staring at me. And if you play enough poker and you are as aggressive as I am, you often get a feel for when players are trying to play back at you. And you know what? It just feels like he's just trying to play back at me this time. So I think this is going to be a profitable call. So I do go ahead and make the call. We go heads up to a flop, which comes down queen, 8, 6, rainbow. Nothing good for us. The turn comes down the 7 of diamonds, so we pick up a flush draw. And river is the ace of spades. So we make top pair, I show, and he has the 10-9 offsuit for the turned straight. And we cannot win an all-in pre-flop in this series. And we can't win a hand today either, so we're going to have to add on another $300 and get back to work. On to this next hand, we have a few limps, and I go for a little bit of a loose isolation raise with the queen jack offsuit up to $20. We had a call from the big blind as well as one of the limpers to my direct right. So we're going 3 ways to the flop with one of our good friends who's in every hand with us. And it's a good one. It's queen, 5, deuce, rainbow. Action checks to me. I kick things off with a small bet here, $20. Big blind now puts in another check raise, this time only up to $40. Hijack things for a little bit and then overcalls. So I'm a little bit concerned with hijack. He could definitely have some sets here. He could have some 3-4 suited, but he could also have some queens. If he does have top pair though, I reckon that we have a better kicker. He seems like the type that would raise king, queen, or ace, queen. So we're going to call here and proceed with a little bit of caution. Anyways, we head to the turn and it's pretty good. It's the queen of hearts improving us to trips. Big blind now checks, so I think it's pretty clearly he had absolutely nothing going for the check raise there. But now hijack goes for the lead here of $50. Don't really want to raise him. I think just call is the best option here, so I do go for the call, and big blind did indeed have absolutely nothing and folds. Off to the river, and it comes down, probably the worst one in the deck. It's a 6 of spades. So I was really worried about 4-3, as I think that's his most likely candidate to go for the overcall and then small bet on the turn. And indeed, he does go for a big bet, $150. With this river, I don't think there's any sense in raising. We're just going to run into 3-4 too often. We still lose the sets, and he doesn't have that much worse queen X. He has queen 10, queen 9, queen 8 suited, which is like, what, 3 combos? So I think just call here is the correct play. And he has middle set, and we're going to lose another big one and have to top up another $250. Ah.
Hey guys, fuck me, I've got to go for a walk. I haven't tilted in ages. I am fucking like fuming right now. It's been 55 minutes of play, not even an hour. We're in the game for 1300. That means we're stuck $800 in a 1-3 game. Man, it's been a long downswing with just no end in sight. Just constant, like every single session just feels like this. Running trips into a full house. You know, he's got worse Queen X there, so we can't fold. Lucky he just bet so small on the turn or didn't check, otherwise we would have given him more. Run Ace Jack suited into 10-9 off for 300 bucks. It's fun. Man, flopping trips, everything. Just every session, this is brutal. This is absolutely insane. Oh, all right, I'm gonna go for another 15-minute walk, then we'll get back in there, play some more hands. If I am playing tilted, then I'm just gonna call it and go home. It'll be a very short video, but that's it. I guess that's another important lesson. If you're not feeling it, just go home, take the day off. It's not fun losing $800 at a 1-3 game. Yeah, guys, all right, see you back in there.
All right, we got ourselves a suited Broadway this time. Queen 10 of clubs, bumping on up to $10. We get a call from the cutoff before the small blind now puts in a very small raise up to $30. I don't think there's too much sense in re-raising here. Folding is out of the question, so that just leaves one option. We make the call and cutoff somehow folds. Anyways, heads up to a flop and it comes down King 7-6 all diamonds. That is not good, and our opponent puts in a bet of 30, to which we just fold. We open up the 7-6 of diamonds in the low jack up to $10. We get a lot of callers. We're going 5 ways to this flop, which comes down Queen 5-4 rainbow. Pretty good. We got ourselves an open ender, so when it checks to us, it's going to be one of our main bluff hands. I go ahead and fire out just $15. Hijack folds, button folds, small blind folds, and big blind also folds. Kind of mixed feelings about that one. I feel like we could have won a little bit more flopping an open ender, but at the same time, we took down the pot 5 ways with 7 highs, so how upset can you really be? We got ourselves another suited connector, 8-7 of diamonds, bumping on up to $10. Once again, we get a few callers. We're going 4 ways to this flop, and we flop ourselves another straight draw on 6-4 deuce, this time a gut shot. Big blind checks to me, and seeing as all these cards are very low, I think it's going to be tough for our opponents to connect with here. I think they're mostly going to have, like 10-9s, jack 10s, ace 5s, maybe something like that. So I think we can go for the bluff here. I know it's pretty multi-way, but I feel good about it. So I put in a bet of $15, and once again, we just managed to take it down on the flop. We have a hijack limp. Button has raised up to 15. Small blind has called. I look down at ace 9 of diamonds. Could consider squeezing, but this guy just ripped $300 with 10-9 off. So if he jams once again, we are going to have to fold this hand, most likely. So I think I'm just going to call here. This hand plays very well multi-way, and we can flush over flush someone, hopefully. So I make the call. Hijack calls as well. So we're 4 ways to a flop of ace 10-3 rainbow. I check it over, and action checks all the way through. Heading to the turn, it's a really bad one. It's a 10 of diamonds. Action checks to me, and any other turn I'd bet. This one, we are definitely going to be checking a lot. So I check, hijack bets 15, button folds, small blind folds, and could sometimes raise, but I think we're just going to call and play some rivers, which comes down the 8 of clubs. I check it over to my opponent, who snap checks back. This sounds like good news. Please, please, I roll it over. It's good. All right, we're winning one. We have a limper under the gun. Cutoff is raised to 10. I look down jack 10 of clubs on the button. Can raise, can call. This time I decided on call. Limper also calls, so we're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes down Queen 8-7 all hearts. Action checks to me, and I think I'm going to start with a small bet here. $10 with our gut shot. Unfortunately, both my opponents continue. Heads to the turn, it's the 6 of spades. Upside down, isn't it? Should have been the 9. But once it checks to me, I'm not going to continue bluffing here, and I just check this back. Off to the river, it is the king of diamonds. Action once again checks to me, and I just decide to give up. Good thing I did, because under the gun had turned himself another 2 pair. All right, nice hand. Okay, in this hand, we were just returning from the washroom, and I already have $3 posted, so it's only a $7 raise. Let's go for it. I bump it up to $10 with the 9-7 off, and we immediately get punished with a button 3-bet to $35. That was an expensive washroom trip. I fold. Okay, here we go. We got pocket kings. There's a button straddle on. It's time to turn this session around. Small blind and under the gun +2 have limped. I go for my standard raise up to $25. Only the button straddler makes the call, and the other 2 limpers actually fold. Kind of crazy. We go heads up to a flop. which is not great. It's ace 10, 9, 2 spades, and a heart. I don't really see too much sense in betting out here. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and check my hand. And Button, who has been betting a lot, puts in another bet of $30. Nothing to do here. We only have one option. Folding is insanely tight versus someone that's betting, stabbing this much. So we go for the call. And to turn, it is the queen of clubs. We pick up a gutter, check it over once again, and he does not slow down. Another bet incoming, this time $60. It's not looking great, but he could still be betting like a merged hand, sort of like Jack 10, Queen Jack, something like that. So I think it's too soon to fold versus this opponent specifically, but I think there's definitely a case for folding against some of the nittier players. But anyways, we go for the call. We head to the river, hoping for a jack, and it comes down the 10 of diamonds. What a brutal run out. Now we lose to Jack 10 as well. Yeah, this is not going well. I check it over, and he goes deep into the tank, thinking about a bet. Looks like he's counting out some chips. How much is it going to be? We probably can't call. And eventually he decides just to check it. I table my hand. It's good. Oh boy, I did not think we were going to win that one after that run out, but we're pulling in at this $245 pot. There we go. Okay, opening up the ace 3 of diamonds under the gun. We get our friend to make the call, as well as the big blind. We're going 3 ways to this flop, which comes down Jack 6-6 rainbow. Big blind checks to me and could definitely make a case for betting, but with the hijack in the hand, I want to go for the check raise versus him with his hand. So that is what I do. Go for the check. Hijack now puts in a bet, but this time it's one of his big ones. It's $25. So when it folds back to me, I don't think I want to check raise versus this size. I assume that his bigger bets just mean better hands. So I think we're just going to let this one go and maybe saved us from disaster if he chose a smaller size. The next hand, there's a couple limps, and we check our option in the big blind with the king 9 off and head to a flop of ace 10 7 rainbow. We have a little something going on here, but when the limper now bets out for a little bit over pot, we're just not going to float king high here, so we're out of there. Here we go, folks. Pocket kings again, and even better, the player to my right has raised it up to 15. He's been doing a ton of limping. He's the one that won a big pot of us with the pocket 5s. So I assume it's going to be a pretty strong range. I'm thinking like top 15% of hands. He just does a ton of limping. So anyways, we're going to go for the re-raise here. I bump it on up to $50. Folds back round, and my opponent makes the call. Good news here. We go heads up to a flop. And every damn time it is ace queen 4 rainbow. Cutoff now checks, and I don't see too much value in going for a range bet here. We're going to get called by an ace, and I just don't think we get floated enough to make our range bet profitable here. But anyways, I'm just going to go for a check here and play this a little bit more cautiously. We head to the turn, and it comes down the 7 of hearts, introducing a backdoor flush draw. My opponent checks once again, so I think it's pretty clear we have the best hand here. I think we would have heard from a hand like ace jack, ace 10. I think he's limping worse ace x than that, so I'm never really worried about a 2 pair besides ace queen. Like, I'm not worried about ace 4 suited, ace 7 suited. I assume he's limping those. But he could have some king queens, some queen jack suited, maybe like jack 10 of hearts, pocket jacks, something like that. So I think we're going to go for a bet here of $50, not too big. After a bit of thoughts, my opponent does continue. We head to the river, and it's a pretty good one. It's the ace of clubs, so making it very unlikely that my opponent has an ace, and even more so unlikely when he once again checks it over to me. You know, he had a chance to bet his ace on the turn, and he could have led river, which is a very common line at 1-3. So I think we have the best hand here most of the time. And I think we can get some value from a hand like Queen Jack. You know, I'd be pretty inclined to pay off a bet if I had Queen Jack in the spot once the ace pairs on the river. So I think that's what we're going to do. It also doesn't look like we have an ace once we check the flop. So I feel like this is going to look bluffy to him. Maybe we have Jack 10 of hearts or something. And he does decide to look us up with a queen or pocket jacks, pocket 10. So I decide on a bet of $150. My opponent snap calls. That is not good news. And he has the ace king. Oh boy. Not a fun session. We are going to be losing that $500 pot. Under the gun has limped. Hijack has now raised up to 15. Don't really want to have too many 3-bet bluffs with him. His only hand that I've seen him raise this session was ace-king, so yeah, not too inclined to raise, but we can call and play in position with a nice suited medium one-gapper. We also get the call from the under-the-gun players, so we're 3 ways to a flop of queen 10-7 rainbow. Under-the-gun checks, hijack now puts in a c-bet of 15. We're not going to go anywhere. I toss in the call, and under-the-gun calls as well. We get a good turn in the deuce of hearts, so we pick up a flush draw now. Action once again checks to me, and we're never getting called by worse, and we're never folding out better with a bet, so there's literally no point to bet, so we check. Off to the river, it is the deuce of clubs. Not a great card. Under the gun checks, hijack checks, and we're just going to have to check this one back. Under the gun mucks, hijack also mucks, and our 7 is good for this $90 pot. All right, on to the next hand. We have king, queen offsuit, bumping it up to $10. We get a call from the low jack as well as the cutoff, so we're going 3 ways to this flop, which comes out pretty nice. It's king, 10, 6, 2 clubs, and a spade. Top pair has not been kind to me this session. I've lost every single pot I've had top pair. So let's try and win this one. I start things off with a small bet of $10. Low jack makes a call and cutoff folds. And to the turn, it is the 9 of diamonds. Getting a little bit connected here. 10-9 got there, queen jack got there. But we do have a queen in our hand. Like 8-7 also got there, but a little bit less likely to call a gut shot. I think we want to keep betting here. I don't want to go too big, but I do want to go big enough. So I settle on a sizing of $40. Low jack thinks for a bit. Once again calls. We head to the river. It's the worst one in the deck. It's the ace of clubs. Nothing to do here. We can't bet. I'm going to start with a check. And low jack tanks for a little bit. Puts in a bet of $50. And I don't know what to do. How can he be bluffing? We're losing to so much. He's never betting a worse king. This one, 100% just a tilt call. Yeah, we should just be folding this, but it was very cheap. I just tossed it in without thinking too much, and he had the jack, 8 of clubs. Our top pairs are not holding today, and I racked up right after this because throwing away $50 like that is not okay.
All right, folks, that was a tilt call, so I am calling the session because I'm not playing my best. Didn't even think about it. I just called, just sat there and said no way they could have it again. They did, so that was $50 we didn't need to lose. However, the other $882 we also didn't have to lose, but that one wasn't my fault. That is just how I've been running for, seems like forever now. That's gonna bring the total negative down to 932 we lost today. We were down 980 before, so that's 1,912 or 1,902, something like that. Not going great in this how to build a bankroll at 1-3 video, is it? Guys, we'll be back next week, and we'll just try to run better and not lose $1,000 in 3 hours. That's all of my insane run good last week of 6 hours of play erased in like 2.5 hours here. Just savage. All right, guys, see you all next week.